Hey guys, this is going to be a weird one. This is why people hate HOAs. This is the exact reason people hate HOAs. Let's talk a little bit about an HOA horror story that I had to endure over this past weekend, the end of last week. So, as many of you know, we took just shy of 2 weeks. I wanted to go down for ASRA racing at Daytona. So we left. We spent a few days getting down to Daytona. We stopped and visited with friends and family. Got to Daytona, did a couple of races, a couple of practices, had a great time. My results were not good, and I don't care. I was out on the banks of Daytona 27 or 28 years after my last outing down there. And it was a blast. I loved it. It was great. So we finished up the racing. We spent a couple of days with friends in Cocoa Beach, old Army friends that we've known for years, uh, and had a great time. We left there. We went to South Carolina, visited some family friends that are fantastic people, and they had moved south from Mass and are living in South Carolina, and they're just loving life. And we stopped in to say hey. The next day we got up. Thursday we conversed for a while, and then we left and we went to North Carolina to visit some very dear friends. We've known them for over 30 years, mainly through motorcycle road racing. And I'm not using any real names, any locations. I'm not naming the HOAs because there are two involved. And Frank, Frank, his wife, and his family, they're our family, and they have been for years. We don't see each other as much as we'd love to, but this is going to be maybe a yearly thing. We're definitely going to make more trips down south just to visit with our friends and have a good time. So let me set the stage. Frank lives on a mountain, 15-minute drive on little tiny dirt roads with a bunch of switchbacks to get to the top of the mountain. There are two HOAs. There is the Upper Mountain HOA and then the Lower Mountain HOA. Okay, so two different HOAs, two different developers. And the main developer set aside a small piece of property, and we checked the deeds on this. It's not owned by either of the HOAs. This property was set aside for a guest and contractor parking area. Now, in May of 22, when I visited, I parked my truck and my trailer at the bottom of the mountain. They came down in the Jeep, picked me up, and up we went. Had a lovely visit. My missus wasn't with me, and she definitely wanted to go back down, and we pretty much planned this whole trip visiting friends and family as we go. And we had a fantastic time. So, upper HOA, lower HOA, neither own this property, and there's a sign. And I remember the sign from the last time I was there. Uh, Before we go there, how can you not love a view like this right off your back deck? How can you not love this? Get up in the morning, sit out on the deck, have a cup of coffee, and look at that. It's unbelievable. Unfriggin' believable. They've got a beautiful home, and how can you not love that? Fantastic. Anyway, back to the sign. Uh, Here's the entrance to the area. I'm not going to show the name of the property. It says private property, owners and guests only, no trespassing. That's fine. And you come up around the corner, There's a sign posted, parking head-in contractors and guests only. Well, I'm a guest. So we pulled into the lot. I've never seen any other vehicles there my last visit, and there were never any vehicles in the lot this visit because we checked every day while we were there. Um, there was never anybody else there. So when I parked, I kind of parked like a dick. I am a masshole, okay? I'm a masshole. I didn't want to disconnect the trailer. It's got a weight distribution system with active sway control. So I kind of pulled it in, and let me show you a picture of how I initially parked. Yeah, it's kind of a dick move. I'm a dick. What can I say? I parked it like that because I didn't want to disconnect. Not that it's such a big deal. I'm just lazy. So we parked the truck. Here's another shot of it. You can see the little rope here. And this is all parking area. Yeah, I'm a dick. What can I say? Uh, I'm the dick you all know and love. So parked the truck. We hadn't, and it takes 15 minutes to go up the mountain. So they pick us up the mountain. We go in the Jeep. I could probably get my trailer up on the mountain, but I would not want to. Uh, Man, it's like a goat trail, only wider. It's just unbelievable. But you've got your lower HOA. You drive through the lower HOA road. On the lower HOA road, you get to a gate. The gate opens. You go through. Now you're in the upper HOA area at the top of the mountain. We get to the house, just sit down. We're having some great conversations and reminiscing about days gone by and how much fun we had and how much we enjoy each other's company. And I'm not sure who got notified, but Frank gets a notification. Hey, um, somebody's complaining about the way Craig parked at the bottom of the hill. I get it. I was a dick. And it was because somebody was having guests this weekend and I was taking up the whole lot. And she had contacted somebody who contacted Frank's daughter in law, who is a secretary or something with the upper HOA. Anyway, another 15 minutes, back down the mountain we go. Haven't been there an hour yet. Back down the mountain we go. So we're talking about it on the way down, and I was like, well, I can back the trailer up, disconnect, park the truck next to the trailer. That'll leave most of the lot wide open for anybody else that wants to park there. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to try and be as accommodating as I possibly can. And that's what we did. So we go all the way back down the mountain, 15-minute drive on these dirt goat paths. We get down there and we rearrange the parking. Now you can see the sign right there to the right of the photograph. That sign's been there for a long time. It's pretty faded and some of the vinyl's peeling off of it, but you can clearly read that contractors and guests only. They want you to head in, but I had to back the trailer up and then I backed my truck up as close as I could to the trailer, trying to be accommodating. I am a masshole. I get it. I park like a masshole. All right, we'll change it. So we change it. Frank took a couple of pictures, sent them to the daughter-in-law. Is this good enough? Let us know. We figure we're done with it. I would say within an hour, um, Mark's son calls him. And he tells Frank, he says, Frank, I think they're going to tow Craig's shit. And I was like, what? All right, back down the mountain we go. We got to go down and do something. I'm going to have to move my truck or take it somewhere or do something with it. Um, because obviously somebody's just being hateful now at this point. We did go down. I tried to be accommodating. Now they're just being petty and hateful. Well, HOA horror story. Here we go. Back in the Jeep we get. Back down the mountain we go. Another 15 minutes. We get down to the bottom of the mountain. We come around the corner. And before we got to the bottom of the mountain, or was this? No, this was different. We'll talk about some other shenanigans that are going on there. But we get down to the bottom of the mountain and my shit's gone. My truck's gone. My trailer's gone. The two motorcycles I have in the back are in the trailer and they're gone. And I'm shitting bricks. Well, now, all my property's gone. I don't know who's got it. I don't know where it went. I'm calling 911. 911. I'd like to report my vehicle and my RV trailer have been stolen. Thank you very much. Gave her the tag numbers, the descriptions, the contents, the tag number off of my Harley, uh, information about my Aprilia race bike, because this shit could end up anywhere. I don't know at this point. And explain the entire situation to the dispatcher. She says, my deputies are on emergency calls right at the moment. As soon as one of them clears, I will have them either meet with you or reach out to you. I said, perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. About 10 minutes go by and I get a call from a lieutenant from the sheriff's department. Introduces himself, asked me some questions, asked me if the property, if it was posted there, were there any phone numbers posted? Um, a couple of unusual questions. Now, with my uh, background and training, I know how the investigative things go. I've been there, done that. Um, so, okay, I answered all his questions. He's like, "Do you have any kind of?" And then I told him, I says, "Well, after looking at the lot now, obviously it's been towed." And he says, "Well, how do you know that?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, drag marks." Yeah, drag marks. I said, yeah, the truck was in parking brake set, and there's two drag marks. So yeah, it most likely was towed, or someone stole it that has access to a tow truck or whatever. So yeah, it's gone. So the lieutenant explained to me, he says, stolen vehicles in this area are very uncommon. It doesn't happen a lot. Most likely it was stolen. Do you have any kind of phone numbers of anybody? So, the rumor of them towing, the lower HOA people towing my property, Frank was able to get a phone number to somebody. I gave the lieutenant that number. And he says, well, I'll try and find out who towed it and where it is and get you contact number for the individual that called to have it towed, because whoever that individual is never notified us. Some little key points to keep in the back of your mind. So another 10 minutes go by. I get a call back from the lieutenant. The lieutenant says, yeah, there was a guy by the name of, and again, I'm not using real names. We'll just call him Stefan. Well, Stefan called the tow company and had my shit towed. Gave me the name and number to the tow company, gave me Stefan's phone number, and I tried to reach out to Stefan, but Stefan didn't answer the phone. And of course, his voicemail box is full, probably full of hate mail. Now that we know who this person is, we got a little more additional information that he's some type of an officer on the board of the lower HOA. Um, so, yeah. And I guess his wife is as well, secretary or treasurer or some shit. Anyway, vice president, secretary, treasurer, something. But they hold office in the lower HOA board. So that's who called to tow my shit. Won't answer the phone. Can't leave a message. I was going to try and figure out what's going on. If they had notified us, I had already been accommodating once. I would have been more than accommodating a second time and moved it somewhere else. Where, I don't know. We would have found a place. But just to try and keep the peace. But some people are just hateful and probably have miserable lives. So this is how they get their enjoyment. So I guess the first complaint was from Stefan's wife, Karen. And Karen didn't like the way I parked, which I did park like a dick, but I rearranged it. And Stefan called the tow company. So now I call the tow company. And I spoke with Jeff. Spoke with Jeff at the tow company. Super nice guy. Says, yeah, I've got your stuff here. Stefan is the one who called about it. I've done business with him before. I towed a Prius out of there a couple of weeks ago. He said, I was very careful with your property. We use skidders to drag your truck up on the flatbed, which I know what skidders are. Um, Again, as a police officer, I've dealt with traffic accidents. I've been there. I've seen them use skidders to pull stuff up on on rollbacks. And yeah, not an issue. He says, I was super careful with the trailer because a lot of people that have toy haulers, whatever they got in the back, they tend to unstrap when it's parked somewhere. And I said, nope, all my stuff's strapped down. We should be good. Is there any way I can come get it? And he's like, yeah, I'm getting ready to leave, but I will wait until you get here so you can get what you need to get. Because I had something pretty important in there I needed to get control of. And super nice guy. So off we go, 30-minute drive. We go and we get to the tow company and we start explaining the situation to Jeff. And Jeff's like, you got to be kidding me. I said, nope. That's what the situation is. And he was very apologetic. And then he asked, do you have some place to put your trailer? Because if you take it back there, I'm not going to tow it, but he's going to call another tow company and have it towed again. And I was like, well, that wouldn't be in his best interest, but yeah, we got a place we could take it. Frank piped in and said, I'm going to take it. We're going to take it to my son's place. It's about an hour away. Jeff's like, no, you're not. You can leave it here. It's under lock and key in a locked yard with tons of security cameras. It'll be safe. And I was like, well, we're going to be leaving really early on Saturday morning. He's like, here's my private cell number. Call me. I'll get the lot opened up for you, and you can be on your way. Talk about Southern hospitality. Such a great guy. He was just fantastic. The tow bill, and I'm still pissed at Frank about this one. $640, and Frank would not let me pay it, and I'm still upset about that. However, Frank said he will get his money back, and I believe him. Uh, we'll get further into that as we go along. But yeah, he's going to get his money back. Plus, maybe a pound of flesh to go with it. But we'll have to wait and see. Um, so Frank pays the tow bill. I get my truck. We leave the trailer there for the 2 nights. Back to the mountain we go, another 35 minutes up the road. Get back to the mountain, another 15 minutes up the mountain. And I immediately, now that I know who this person is, the first thing I did was I know the statutes for Massachusetts and tow laws and stuff like that because we dealt with it a lot. And I'm totally clueless about North Carolina, so I immediately started looking up North Carolina statutes. And there were actually two statutes dealing with towing someone's personal property off of private lots. And Stefan is in violation of two of them. Signage being one, notification of the sheriff's department being another. I'm not going to list them out, but I did write a 3-page affidavit that lists the statutes in it with quotes from the statutes as well as the facts based on this situation to the best of my recollection and chronological order with times, uh, people, locations, contents, the fact that there were no damages, luckily, and that kind of stuff. So, photographs, everything was photographed, and we'll see how that lawsuit works out. Uh, you know, we moved it once. I would have moved it again. Just the courtesy of notification would have been all it took. And because we don't want to cause problems. However, I guess within the past 3 years, Stefan and Karen are now people of self importance on that lower HOA. As a matter of fact, of course, I go into creep mode. You gotta love Facebook filters. Look at they do have something in common. They both have a 5 head. I will say that. The caption on his Facebook is "Big man on campus." Well, when you're 50 plus and you're in the 5th grade, of course you're going to be the big man on campus. But look at these two clams. Jesus. The filters alone say it, Guys, big man on campus. Dude, you're not about that life. You're not about that life. Trust me. I've dealt with people that are. You ain't that. Nor would you ever be. So, continuing on. Creep them on Facebook. Yep. Stefan and Karen. Oh, what a couple of clams. Jesus. So we continue on with the visit. I got my truck. I got the property I really needed to get control of. Very happy, uh, knowing where my stuff was. But can you imagine the amount of mental anguish I went through? Just not knowing where my shit went or if it's damaged. That was what was going through my mind. Holy shit, how did they tow my trailer? Did he freaking just drag it? Am I going to show up and all my shit's going to be broke? Uh, Jeff did a fantastic job. I can't say enough about him. Due to pending legal things, I'm not mentioning companies' names, HOAs by name, or any of that. But man, this is exactly why people hate HOAs. Uh, you give somebody just a little bit of responsibility and authority in a position, and you end up with Stefan and Karen. Hope you guys are getting my satire with that. So, next thing up, we're going to go for a ride Friday and up around Lake Lore area just to take a look at some of the devastation a year after the hurricanes came through. And it was just devastating. The amount of devastation. There's still work crews up there. They're still doing a lot. They still haven't refilled Lake Lore. They're cleaning it all out. Just unbelievable. I mean, the amount of devastation that those poor people went through. Luckily, Frank and the family all fared very well. They were kind of stuck on the mountain for a while until they got some trees cleared. as well as everybody else in the upper HOA. Lower HOA, I didn't see as much evidence of any damage, but I'm sure there was. Um, so we went out to Lake Lure, and I look as we're going out, and guess what was missing? You can't make this shit up. See that sign that was there Thursday? That's what we found on Friday. The sign was missing. I noticed it on the way out to go for our tour, and then when we came back, we stopped, and I hopped out to get a picture. And guess who was coming down the mountain, coming off property? Stefan. And he saw us stopped, and he saw me taking a picture, and eyes straight ahead, didn't even look, and sped up and kicked up a big dust cloud. And I was like, what a douchebag. I wish he would have stopped, because I would have said, dude, why couldn't you have just called me or got a hold of somebody? Obviously, you got a hold of somebody, because if we came down and moved it once, would have been more than happy to make accommodations. Supposedly, Caron had people coming to visit for the weekend. Guess what? That fucking lot was empty. It was empty Thursday night, it was empty Friday night, and it was empty Saturday morning when we left. There was nobody parked there. This is just two hateful, miserable people in their own lives, obvious by their trying to look cool on Facebook with their filters and be the big man on campus. Yep, when you're 50 plus in the fifth grade, you're going to be the biggest guy on campus. Uh, but the sign was gone. So, of course, me being me, hey, Frank, you need to report some stolen property from the parking area. Parking area doesn't belong to either one of the HOAs. It was set up again by the developer for guest and contractor parking, and he kept deed to the property. Again, we did a deed search. It's not the property of anybody there. It's for joint use for guests and contractors. Hello? I used it back in May of 2022. Nobody said a word, and I parked like a dick back then. Not a single person said a word about it. So, what else we got here? Oh, yeah. There's my poor little camper stuck in the impound lot. Maiden voyage. This thing's gone through a lot. 3,000 miles on the road from Massachusetts to Florida and back all through the mountains. It got towed. It got put in an impound lot. Man, this trailer is living life on the edge, to say the least. So anyway, I will keep you guys posted. Oh, before I go, Friday night we're going out to dinner, going down the mountain. Now there's mailboxes set up. There's two sections of mailboxes. One's longer than the other, and they're on the side of the road, and they're down in the lower HOA's area along the side of the road. And I can't remember if we were going out or coming back. Oh, we were going out. And the longer section of mailboxes, every single friggin' mailbox was wide open. Some of them were bent up. Mail was hanging out of them. And Frank's like, what the fuck is this? So Frank, being the guy that he is, he stops, gets out, puts all the mail back in the boxes, pushes it in, it closes the lids on all the mailboxes. Off we go. Lovely meal, fantastic place, great live band, uh, good music, good friendship, good food. Had a lovely evening. Head back up the mountain. We get to where the mailboxes are. The section that Frank closed were all closed, but now the other section, they were all open. And he's like, what the shenanigans? Ooh, somebody's being hateful. Wonder who could have been doing that. Yeah, I think the trail camera might say who was doing that. Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, HOAs and why people fucking hate them. I know I do, and I don't even live in one. And this is my first ever uh, contact with any HOA bullshit. And I understand the reason for the HOAs on the mountain. It's so everybody comes together as a group in order to take care of the roadway. Because the roadway is, like I said, it's just a wide goat path, basically. You know, I don't even know if you could get up that without four-wheel drive because some of those switchbacks and the steepness of the hills and the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs and you can almost see their house from the bottom and it's like right there, but you got to go around your ass to get to your elbow just to get up on top of the mountain. But it's gorgeous. It's definitely well worth it. If that's what you want, I mean, by all means, it's fantastic up there. Lovely visit, great friends again. Uh, they're family to us, and I'm not going to let these hateful people, these miserable hateful people, keep us from coming to visit again. And hopefully, after the pending charges and lawsuit get finalized, I will bring you an update. Because I believe FAFO, fuck around and find out. Well, I think Stefan and his wife Karen are going to find out for sure, as well as the lower HOA, because they would have been acting in their official capacity as an officer on the board of the HOA. And the funny thing is, the president of the lower HOA has already started distancing herself from this. She was sending texts. I had no idea they had that stuff towed without my approval. She's already trying to cover her ass because I don't think she wants to be involved with this lawsuit. But unfortunately, the HOA is definitely getting named, as well as the individual Stefan. So, hey, if you like the content, make sure you give me a thumbs up, guys. As always, hey, if you're not subscribed, it doesn't cost you anything. Go ahead and click the subscribe button. A lot of my viewers don't subscribe, but this is my HOA horror story from North Kakalaki, and I'm more than happy to share it with you right now. Sorry I can't give you more details, but in the future I will. Hey, with that, as always, have yourself a great and blessed day.